nobody. You may have made an educated guess that, at least from what it sounds like, at least from what I look like, the word is not going to be about American words. It's from Japan. It's one of the first words you learn in Japanese. People use it every day when we greet, when they check in, when they care. For example, Genki desu ka? It means, how are you? Or, are you doing well? And Genki desu means, I'm fine, and I'm doing well. But for me, the word Genki means more than just, I'm fine. It means energy. It means vitality. It means an invisible force that lifts you up even when life tries to pull you down. And it is a smile you give a stranger. And often it is a strength you carry through your hardest day. And sometimes it's a warmth that connects people from different languages, different cultures, and different backgrounds. It is not about being perfect, but it's about choosing to show up with energy, with hope, and with heart. And today, I want to talk about how that simple idea of Genki has the power to change all of us here. I was born into a family of a Korean father and a Japanese mother. From my early age, growing up, my family was filled with tension, arguments, and cultural conflicts. And at school, I was bullied for being half Korean. Some students would call me a Korean monkey. Well, back in the days and for many, many years, Japanese and Koreans did not get along with each other. When I was 11, my life turned upside down. My parents divorced. And my mom revealed me something I could have never imagined, which is that the father I grew up with was not my real father. But my biological father, who was a Japanese man, had recently passed away. Until then, I didn't know about it at all. Felt deceived, I began to question myself whether I was ever truly loved by my parents. And in one moment, I lost two fathers. The one who raised me up, and the one who I never knew. I didn't know who to trust, and I lost the sense of who I am. After all, I thought my story will be all about sadness and the bad ending. Yet, even in the darkness, something quietly awakened in me. I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. At school, I was bullied. At home, I felt isolated. And I sure wanted to run away. So I did. And when the truth about my father came out, I was left with scars, pain, and distrust. When I turned 13-year-old, I moved to the Philippines by myself, hoping for a fresh start at an international school where a majority of students were Korean and a few other Asians. But when I arrived, I found out that it wasn't a normal school. It was a correctional facility. The life there was harsh and strict. Let me tell you why. Every morning at 6 a.m., we walked to the room leader, banging on the beds. Get up, get up, get up. And every single day, we memorized hundreds of English vocabularies, and for every single mistake we made came with consequences. There was this rule called English-only policy that without permission, speaking in any other languages than English was forbidden. And if you failed, punishment came at the end of the week. push-ups, burpees, planks, and squats, and you name it, sometimes hundreds of each. Even at night, inspections continued. The clothes had to be folded with perfect edge and angle. The drawers were to be organized with military precision. And during the night roll call, we sat hours in silence, with back stretched, arms locked, and eyes forward. In such an environment, so many teenagers struggle with violence, anger, and alcohol. And me, I became a target again as the only Japanese student in the community. Well, the irony is, in Japan, I was called a Korean monkey, and in the Philippines, now these Korean students would call me a Japanese monkey. In the beginning, I reacted. I decided to learn Korean language, not to communicate, but to fight back. Well, but something unexpected happened. The more I spoke the language, the more I understood the students. I could communicate with them, and I could better understand their struggles. And slowly, my pain and conflict turned into a conversation. And I realized something. It's the energy that really matters. Not just any energy, but that very Genki, a Japanese word for vitality, spirit, and positive energy. Well, I started small. On August 15th of every year, there was this tradition in our community where we celebrated the Korean Independence Day by drawing the Korean flag. But this time, I bravely asked, what if we drew our own national flags? Well, we knew what happened in the history, especially around the time of World War II. The tragedy happened between Japan, Korea, China, and all across Asia. But for me, as a young self, it meant something more than that. For me, I thought I was tasked with creating better narratives in the future with emphasis on unity and belonging. It was a simple act, just one question, but it changed everything. We all sat down in one locations, Asian kids from different world, and we drew flags of our own country. And eventually, we hung up all these flags on the wall as a sign of unity. I stayed in the Philippines for 3 years and eventually became a student body president, representing all the other Asian kids as one Japanese student. Eventually, I received a scholarship to study in the United States. In my second year, I transferred to Kean University, where I joined the Center for Undergraduate Research and Fellowship, or CURF, as a student researcher. There I learned a lot, meeting all these students from across the world, from different ethnicity, languages, academic experiences, and stories. And I learned something. That same energy, the Genki, that helped me build connections and all these good stories in the Philippines helped me in the United States as well. People came along, no matter where we're from, looking at each other, not as a Japanese, not as a Korean, not as an American, but as a person, as a friend. And in Newark, New Jersey, with my friends, me, and my mentor, we started a fellowship community for international students, a space for students who struggle with identity and belonging. We share experiences, we support each other, and we spread this energy, the Genki, across the campus and throughout the community. Today, I'm an active student at Kean University, studying finance, interning at an investment bank, doing the research, and leading the student club on campus. Well, this story is not just mine, but it's a story for all of us. We all face moments where we feel like the world doesn't let us belong to them. The world tells us, you do not belong anywhere. But for me, belonging is not something we find. It's not something like a lock we find out of a chocolate box. But belonging is something we can create today. The Genki taught me that. The vitality, the energy, and the spirit that we bring to the community and people around us. So next time when you face struggles, difficulty, or isolation, why don't you remember this? Your energy matters. Your energy can unite. And your energy can transform the world. Because at the end of the day, everybody needs, and it's all about the Genki. Thank you.